We're live.
Are we live?
We're live.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you guys are joining us. Chrystal, Lynn, we're going live and we're going to be talking tonight about relationships. And this is my son Ethan. Many of you are getting to know him. And we're actually, because when we talk about relationships, let me just say first, it's not just partners. In astrology, we're able to really look at, mother-daughter, mother-son dynamics, part. Tonight's just going to kind of be an introduction. And then next week, we're going to get into some really good questions. I do need you guys to send me an email and with your question and the charts, and we will be doing as many as we can next week. And also, we'd like you to be actually calling in and interacting with us. So if you're interested in that, we've got some plans, and just email us. The link will be below. And we can get started. So tonight, as he's getting that going, I just wanted to talk a little bit about astrology and relationships. There's a lot of dynamics that I think every connection that we have has a very important moment in our lives. Often some relationships are short term, some are for a moment, some are lifetime. What makes those differences? Can we see that in astrology? So those are the questions that we have. I think that the great thing about astrology is we're able to look at the blueprint, how the other person might see the world. You know, for a lot of people of you, or a lot of you out there that have dogs, you might take your dog to dog training, right? Dog training class. And the whole point of that class might be to see life as your dog sees it so that you can help communicate with it. And we understand that, the Dog Whisperer and all of those shows, and we're really open to communicating with an animal often because we feel safe. And we're able to have compassion. And it's hard as humans because we kind of have this whole ego thing going. Are you done yet?
I'm tripping. On Facebook, it's
Okay.
like, look at that.
What?
It's like we can't see, like, I'm out of the picture. It's
don't worry.
laying down, but it's standing up.
Okay, we're here.
Well, if they can't, yeah. No, I think we just gotta sit kind of close.
This video is going to take a life of its own, so let's just plan on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. Okay.
So let's talk about us.
Yeah.
Was I a great mom?
Always.
Ethan and I share a few very specific aspects in our chart that I think are very dominant. I was born with Sun Jupiter in Virgo, and Ethan has a Virgo rising. And a Virgo rising is a perfectionistic side. It's also the side of us that we don't like any criticism, do we? Do you like criticism?
No.
How do you handle criticism?
Well, I don't.
What do you do? What do you do? Is that feeling, does it like trigger you? Does it make you go crazy? Are you trying to think of 10 other reasons why you did it? Like what? How do you respond when you feel criticized?
I mean, I usually just think I'm kind of right.
Like, you just go, see, that's the Aries.
I'm not like against, like, okay, this is where I have an issue with criticism. If it's like, hey, whatever you're doing right now, like, it's not right. I'm like, my mind is, well, then suggest something that sounds good. Like, I'm not against somebody being like, you know what if we tweaked it this way and did, like, what do you think? Like, I'm cool with, like, having a conversation. When somebody comes in and they're just like, oh, man, that's messed up. I'm like, you're just going to come in here and tell me it's messed up, like, and then walk away? Like, when I get to sit here, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Like, you want a conversation, at least give me a reason why.
At least give me, like, a better option, your opinion on, you know, what you think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what could be better? So, I mean, in most of my life, like, I owned a moving business for 7 years, and, you know, being the boss, it was kind of my way on that. And then now I'm, like, the manager of a marketing company, so it's pretty much, you know, my way on that. So, I mean, I kind of put myself in positions where
you get your way.
I get my way back.
Mm-hmm. Well, when he was younger, I'm going to tell him a little bit about your chart for those who want to know.
I'm sharing.
Okay,
I'm sharing into groups.
Okay, Mars, right, and Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Can
So-
you feel me?
I got blocked from sharing into groups. So, sharing. So if you're on Facebook, if you know any good groups to share in, or even on your wall or anything like that, it really helps us reach more people. Instagram and YouTube is more sharing with your friends. You know, you hit the little envelope or little button or thing, and then you can share with your friends. And if you know people interested in astrology, we really appreciate shares.
Cool. And that's just what I was saying about Mars and Gemini. Do you know you're in your Mars return right now? Do you know what that means?
No, honestly, I didn't realize I was a Virgo rising.
Yeah, you're Virgo rising.
I just know I have 3 Aries in my 5 planets.
Yeah, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Aries. Interestingly enough, he has the North Node in Pisces conjunct my ascendant. So a lot of times you'll see that in mother-daughter or mother-son relationships. You'll see the North Node on the ascendant. Let's see if anybody else has that. Can we see what
Jump
they're
onto
saying?
YouTube right now.
Even if you have someone in your life that you play a mother role to, or play an uncle or an aunt role, you may find that you have that very specific conjunction, North Node on the ascendant. Usually the ascendant is the older adult, the wiser adult, and the North Node is the energy fueling in to that person's ascendant. So I don't know if that's making sense to you guys. Those of you who know astrology, it should be. It also, he has the North Node in Pisces. He's bringing out my identity. He's fueling my identity. Like, you guys have seen me out here for several years. I'm kind of laid back. I haven't really done the whole, advertising thing. I've been pretty cool, but in today's world, we have to have that.
Yeah.
So I am trying to let go of control, which is my sun in Virgo, to give you control. And didn't you have a big meltdown this morning?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the meltdown, because we're getting real here. They want to know what the heck happened. You can't just be up here going, so how did you see it? You don't have to tell all the details. We just have a hard time communicating.
Well, really building a brand, as much competition as there is, it's just competition for everybody's attention. Not to say there's too much competition in our area, but you really have to put a lot of content, and so this video, typically we do it in our studio in Temecula, and she goes and she gets her hair done, and it's a couple hours in that, and she loves that, and I love that part, but it's a lot. And just to spur of the moment, the other content, we need more of it. And I think I was really just asking, it was, I'll break it down.
Let's now you're gonna
Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to finish what actually happened?
Go for it. Yeah, wait.
No, we've both been doing a lot because we're trying to make this happen, because we really believe that we have something that we can offer and help people. It's helped us, even though it's still, astrology doesn't solve all your problems, but it does give you a little bit of footing along the way. But this Gemini energy that he has, it jumps all over the place. And I'm like this whole Virgo, like one step at a time. And every once in a while, we just connect. And there's nothing that can stop us when I'm connected to your Virgo rising. You're very detailed,
Is that bad?
step by step. No, it's great.
That was good.
It's great. But Mercury just went into Aries today. And Aries is all about in your face, this is what's happening. I don't want to waste any time. So you Mercury and Aries me this morning.
Yeah, no, I just my normal work day, I jump all over the place all day. I'll be on this project and then this project, and I do a lot of structure and building and all the different things that are happening. So I can work on 6 different projects within a 3-hour span.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have this Moon in Pisces, Mama. Okay, Moon in Pisces. It's the whole day, the whole entire day, so that I'm going to go on at night. I have to be vibing, listening to music, thinking about astrology, thinking about the people that have questions, thinking and vibing and the hair done and this whole process. And you are boom, boom, boom. And so we just clashed today. And I think that's the whole point of me talking about relationships and sharing this with you guys, is because you know, you have times when you're in a really good relationship. You love each other. But by understanding, I can understand that part of him. I know that's how his mind thinks. But I also know I'm highly sensitive and emotional. And I can be overwhelmed very easily. And so, while you're over there, Gemini, don't you think I'm highly sensitive
So-
and emotional? Are you
So
avoiding
on
me?
her so on her normal videos, her normal Wednesdays when we're doing all this is what I'm doing in the background. I'm going, I'm grabbing the link, I'm pasting it here, I'm sharing it, and
Which I could never do.
yeah, and so
So you're, yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with it. I
Yeah.
love that part of you.
yeah,
But I just think that as we get into astrology, what relationships it is, if we can step back and you can say, is that relationship worth it? At the end of the day, do you love that person? You know, at the end of the day, do you know, want to make that work? Then we do have to look at each other's individualities.
Mhm.
But then that also means you have to understand that I can be sensitive, and I'm very sensitive to the surroundings and criticism.
Did I criticize you?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't do well because my husband today we had a nice long talk, and he says you guys talk exactly the same is the problem. We talk over each other, and we both get excited. We're like too connected sometimes. Don't you think?
Yeah.
And we have to step back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely get excited, and I just get on. We'll have, like, for instance, today we had the live video getting ready for the thing, and that's like gonna happen. I'm not even worried about that. I'll worry about that 13 minutes before it starts, and I'm thinking about, okay, we need to add in, other little live videos outside, and maybe little 2-minute clips, and how can we get Snapchat in there, and what's TikTok
Well, and I
about?
was coming in this
Yeah.
afternoon to powwow. I thought we were powwowing about
No,
tonight.
I was structuring like our whole goal on building.
You tell me I have to go
building the
live
brand.
Friday night, I have to do this Saturday, and I have to do this Sunday, and I'm like, I just have to do tonight. Like the whole day, I have to like get ready for tonight, and that's the difference in us.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna work
Yeah.
together on that?
I could help start 2 new businesses and work on 7 projects, and then you come in at 6, and I'm like, all right, let's get ready for 8.
That's exactly what you do.
And
I
yeah.
used to be more like that, but I'm not. Let's take some questions.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about you guys, some questions you have, or can you guys relate to this with your, with your parent or siblings? We want to hear from you guys. What are we getting?
Let's see.
I'm a fellow Virgo listening to. Where's my fellow Virgo there? Mark, so you get it. Like Virgos are, if we get off balance at all, to me it's like a Rubik's Cube. It's like I'll sit there and try to figure out the problem, and I will not stop until I find resolve. And it drives me crazy. So today, finally, when things kind of cooled down and we could find our balance, the first thing I had to do was call you and rehash it.
Yeah.
Right? And weren't you waiting for me to call you and rehash it?
Oh, I knew it was coming.
So, okay.
Let's see.
Give me a question.
I get sensitive and needed to prepare emotionally. I'm a Cancer moon.
Yep.
Let's
do Karen. Let's do Karen.
Karen.
Let's sit down. Okay, yeah. Sitting down and telling the other person that they're wrong. I don't know if she was talking about you. I couldn't. You were going too fast. I don't think so.
It's not that you're wrong. I'm just right. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but see, I use my intuition, and I go like with the whole vibe and the whole feel.
Yeah.
You water signs out there completely understand. Moon and Cancer also. We need to have the music.
Chris Strickland says, my mom is an Aries and does not mesh well with my Mars and Aries.
Ooh. Okay, so that is a Sun-Mars conjunction. When you have a relationship, whatever type of relationship, and you have a Sun-Mars conjunction, that means the Sun and Mars in the same sign, especially in Aries. That is very explosive. The Sun and Mars are very competitive. Mars doesn't want to take a backseat to the Sun. And when you look up at the planets, they have like this whole thing going on up there. It's like dramatic. It's a big drama. And we get caught into playing out those patterns in our relationships. And so it can also be a very strict relationship, because the Sun and Mars really, like I said, they're very, very intense. And so when I look at relationship charts, that is one of the things I look for to see if there's a Sun-Mars conjunction or a Sun-Saturn conjunction, because that can be pretty heavy too.
Chris Strickland says, Chrystal, do you struggle balancing your Virgo energy with your strong Pisces energy, also with your moon in the 12th house?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, that I have this side of me that's like, can talk and plan things and get all excited, but then the other part of me is the part of me, like when you were a kid, it was probably like, you know, you'll get over it, let it go. You always say I let you do things that I shouldn't have let you do. But I think that was my moon in Pisces, this opposition of being a strict parent, wanting perfection, but then being this laid back parent. And so just even in relationships, you know, I think in all my relationships, it's hard for me. I can't imagine it's not hard for everybody else. They know what they know. Okay, what is another question? There's more we could say on that, for sure. But yeah, I have a very critical eye, and then I have a very emotional, you know, response to everything. So it's hard to juggle.
So Knick-Knack Butterfly. I'm finding that I'm teaching my Taurus mom about life and spirituality and energy.
And what sign are you? See, now that's a good thing. When you look at a Taurus is going to be much more practical. They want facts. They want the history. They're not just going to be as naturally spiritual as like woo-woo, like some of us can be kind of out here. Taurus really has the spirituality through the earth, through touching the earth, through planting seeds, through watching life. That is spiritual to them. And for some of us who really have a different type of spirituality, you can't make somebody see what they're not created to see. You can give them examples that they may want to try. Other parts of the chart may really be important to influence that. But understanding, you know, when you are talking to a Taurus, that you're going to have to prove yourself. They're going to be more of a debate. It's that bull. And they don't, you know, they don't change easy. And even if they do want to change, they don't really want to tell you. They'll subtly make those changes. But, you know, they want to know that what they know is what they know. They have a hard time being mutable. Okay, so see if that's helpful. Any other questions?
I'm jumping back and forth here. If you could pick a favorite sun sign and moon sign, excluding Virgo and Pisces, what would they be?
Oh, that's a good one. A favorite sun sign and a favorite moon sign? I like Libra, so I'd probably have to have, I think the moon in Libra I really like. And I kind of like those Leos. I don't know. Leo, I'm trying to think. That's a tough question. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Going with Leo, like those Libras. Leo is super creative and super out there, and I think that, you know, I do like that enthusiasm. But the Libra blended with the Leo will calm it down and, you know, really give them more of a counseling enthusiasm and more of a relational enthusiasm. So putting those two together.
So
that's my off-the-cuff answer.
Carolyn Mayberry.
Hi, Carolyn.
You know her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She was like, Chrystal.
Yeah, we met out at the beach in Oceanside for lunch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which type of compatibility chart do you normally turn to, or if you do multiple, how do you use each in, i.e., Synastry, Composite, Davison?
And yeah, well, you know, that's a really good question. Thank you, Carolyn, because I do use all three. It depends on what I'm looking for. You know, a lot of times I'll put charts. The first thing I do is put them side by side. I just get a feel of them, looking at them side by side. Just kind of looking at where everything is laying, separate personalities. I'm not blending it together yet. I'm looking at each person individually. And then when I use Synastry or Composite, now I'm able to see what that looks like in a blended situation. or what type of imprint, because you can take two charts and make it a new birth chart. When you get married and you have that legal bounding, as we know here on Earth, or you make that commitment, you now have a new chart. You have a new birth chart. So looking at individually how each person's going to come into the game, and then also looking at the lessons that the two of you are going to be learning together, and how other people see you. So that's very interesting. But I hope that answered. So I do use all three. Put them together, blend them together, and then look at the new birth chart, and that tells you a lot about the whole situation.
So, Carrie Adkin, if a person has health problems lifelong, will you often see it in their natal chart, and is there a fix to it for it?
Well, we definitely see health in the natal chart. Definitely. I mean, we're going to look at each sign individually. I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, this is just basic, but, having a sun in Virgo, my skin is very dry. When I was younger, I had acne. I'm prone to different, skin irritations. I'm sensitive. I'm allergic if anything gets on my skin. And then having the moon in Pisces, which is the opposite, I have a lot of allergies. All in here, I'm constantly having allergies. So the two together have given me asthma, giving me, extreme allergies. So I know that's where it comes from in my chart. So again, when I'm looking, even when you're looking at your own chart, look at everything individually for a minute, and then start to combine and see where those things are. Also, in what house? Look at your sixth house. Your sixth house is the house of health. And often you can see what is aspecting that. If you have, like I have Virgo, my sun, in the sixth house. So that's going to be, again, extremely prominent. It's funny because as a kid, I absolutely loved animals. You couldn't keep me away from them. But I was highly allergic to animals. I've always been. I just immunized myself. But looking at that as well in your partner's chart and understanding, you can see, sensitivities, mental health, physical things. And I think we should, we can't predict how anything's going to happen exactly, but it gives us the ability to observe. Astrology is always an amazing research that we're all constantly doing. So that's a good question.
So Cody McCoy, do you have any thoughts about a Cancer Mars? That's something I've been trying to understand in myself a little more, because when I get angry, I get very, very all over the place and can't necessarily pin down what I'm upset about or why.
That's a great question. Well, just isolating Cancer energy, which is ruled by the moon, we know that you are highly susceptible to all the moods around you. Cancers by nature also have the ability, they're like spiritual doctors or empathic doctors. So like if I'm a Cancer and I'm sitting next to someone, I could start getting their headache if I didn't have one, or I can feel them. They use dogs that are Cancers to help as service dogs for people with diabetes. They can feel all of their chemicals change. Yeah. So here you have this, it feels like your moods are everywhere. It's also because it's also because you're ruled by the moon, which is constantly moving. Think of the ocean. So yeah, and with Mars there, now you have, Cancers have this photographic emotional memory. So with Mars there, now it's hard to not to have resentments, to hang on to resentments. You remember everything. There could be a lot of post-traumatic stress there because you can relive things as if they happened yesterday. Is any of that, identifying? So in relationships, you have to be extremely careful and understand the power that you have the power to set the mood for everybody.
Well, I notice it in my life, even at work or home or anywhere. If I'm in a bad mood, it'll put the other person in a bad mood. And you could feel the energy. You don't even have to be looking at the person. You could be laying in bed, not looking, and just the energy, just the energy. You know, I listen to a lot of really good entrepreneurs, and you know, they say that culture and the energy inside of the workplace and is the number one thing. You know,
Yeah, I heard that. What were they? Yeah, let's talk about that because it was
Mr. Gary Vee.
Mr. Gary V. We love our Gary
Um,
V. He kicks me in
oh
the
my
butt.
gosh, I listened. If you want to be just better in life, Gary Vaynerchuk is really amazing. But you know, he talks about, you know, the number one thing is culture and seeing, you know, in your workplace, what do the people in there want? Some people want more time with their kids. Some people want more money. Some people want, you know, different things. So finding that, and that might even be something in a relationship, you know, even at home, you know, kind of finding, because, you know, some people might want to go out to dinner more, and some might want to go, you know, just spend more time at home watching Netflix, or some might want to, you know, go to the beach and have a day away, you know, and maybe even, you know, finding that.
Well, yeah, and and the cool thing is we can see those things in the chart. I mean, you know, and again, everything has a way of expressing itself differently, but we can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else we got?
See, it's Cody again. The resentment and emotional photographic memory really represents and gives me
Resonates.
resonates and gives me some good food for thought. Is that resentment, or is that?
Different people handle resentment differently. Some people hold on to resentment their whole life, and usually you'll see that in the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, that they hang on because when they're hurt, it affects them so much emotionally. Now, Aries, they don't want to have that big emotional baggage. You let go of things. Like I'll be all upset at him, and then by the time I call him later, he's like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm like, "We need to talk." He's like, "What? Oh, where are you? You want me to come over?" I'm like, "I thought we had a big fight this morning." "What? I'm coming over."
Yeah.
But I love that about you. And it frustrates me that I have to feel everything differently. So look at, you know, how the other person thinks. If you are this emotionally intense person, you have to be careful that you're not draining everyone around you. I have to watch that. I try really hard not to, you know, but I have those moments where you just have to purge emotionally, and those that love you help you through it. You don't have to understand it. You just have to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely don't really hold grudges that much. I mean, it has to be pretty big and be pretty, you know.
Yeah, but you still forget about things, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions.
Go on YouTube.
On YouTube. Are you guys liking this? Let's see. I want to hear Carolyn again. Oh, thank you, my Virgo queen. Oh, thank you.
Do you think Vedic astrology has any merit? I'm an Aries, but in Vedic astrology, apparently I'm a Pisces.
Yeah, that's kind of a whole nother topic.
Sorry, I'm just throwing them out.
But you know what? I really believe, at least in my opinion as of today, from what I've observed, is it seems that the different Vedic or Western, they all see the same thing through different glasses. So I think that, you know, Vedic tends to be more about predictive astrology, where it appears that Western seems to be a lot more about, you know, day-to-day astrology, where we are now, our destiny, more free will. But, you know, that's another whole topic.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though. We all have that question. Can you guys hear us okay?
I think everybody is hearing good. I'm just switching back and forth. We're on a few different platforms on here. Facebook's weird. We're like sideways, but when you're looking at it, does it look like we're up and down on Facebook? I'm just curious because it looks like that on my phone.
They can hear us. That's the
Yeah.
We have a full moon tonight, you guys. We forgot to talk about the full moon. Right now as we speak, it's coming over.
Yeah.
We kind of have these lights out here, so it's hard to see. But this is perfect for relationships because the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Libra. Libra is all about relationships, and Aries is all about initiating new thoughts, birthing new ideas. You know, there's a process of dying to our old thoughts, and I know for myself, when I hit that wall in my own life or I just hit the wall. I hate that part, but that's how I operate. It's almost like I have to go through a death and destruction of a concept in relationships. Sometimes I have a lot of truth and emotions in people, and sometimes we need to let it out so we can make it through to the other side, and we can hopefully gain perspective and gain some maturity on that.
It is.
What are we
Almost
doing
9
on
o'clock.
time? Okay. Did we have
well,
one
no,
more?
8:40. Someone asked what time it was here.
Oh,
They're
okay.
in Australia. It's 1:40 p.m.
Okay, let's
Thursday.
let's do more questions.
I had a good one that I wanted to know.
Okay.
Can you see drug abuse in the charts?
Yes, definitely. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at that. I mean, if I'm looking at that, the first thing I'm going to look for is, in my first overall glance at a chart, is water energy. We see a lot of alcoholism when we get into the water signs. Now, on the other side of that, for people who say, hey, I'm a water sign, I've never taken a drink, I've never done anything, sometimes with that you're going to see an addiction to something else, like religion, like spirituality. There's an addictive personality. Neptune conjunctions can often, really create that. Saturn and Pisces, those born with Saturn and Pisces, I've seen a lot of them that lead up Alcoholics Anonymous, because Saturn is about teaching and structure and finding help for addiction. Anywhere you have Neptune, you're going to see delusion. Also, hypersensitivity. Those of us that are extremely hypersensitive are often looking to self-medicate to calm that down in different ways. So, I mean, the first thing I look at is just overall, generally, what is the most dominant signs in the chart? When we get into Mercury-ruled signs, such as Gemini, Virgo, you see more of, someone who's going to smoke using their hands, or smoke pot, or, want to keep that adrenaline up. So maybe more of somebody that has addiction to, what is it? What am I going to call it? Methamphetamines. What is it? Meth. Methamphetamines. And that type of drug, because they want to stay up and keep that mind going, kind of more of a high like that. It just kind of depends. Sometimes we see with Venus ruled, be Taurus and Libra, more of a food addiction. And so everybody on the zodiac has probability or capability. All of us do, but depending on what you're looking for, or I would be observing somebody if I got into a relationship that had, strong water, and could be probable. So
I have Joseph Booker. I hope I said that right. May I ask how a natural retrograde Juno could affect your love life?
Well, retrogrades, I find, are a lot about karmic relationships. Your experience of backwards energy, a backwards pattern, maybe reliving something. Have you ever had those like deja vu moments, like I've met that person before? A lot of times those born in retrogrades have had that experience. We can't prove that they've already been there in that relationship before, but I would say there's a lot of karmic relationships, and depending what sign that's in as well. But Juno does have kind of a weird connection to partnerships. Definitely.
All right, and just kind of stop real quick. One thing that really helps us get, helps build our brand is helping share on your page. If you know any good astrology groups, or just have friends that are really interested in astrology, if you can help share to them, it really helps what we're doing.
There you go.
There we go.
I'd like to ask a question. Is this an interest that you guys have? If we were doing these weekly, and I was actually taking in calls, and we could, experience this together, hear from each other of the relationships that we're going through, and being able to look at the charts. I think that would be really amazing. What do you guys think? would you guys come back for more of that? That would be a good question.
See, I'm looking for Kimberly Angus had asked a question.
Yes, yes, yes. I got my yeses. Okay,
And
cool.
she's gonna ask again because we didn't see her question. See. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, so let's go. We will. I'll make sure we get to that one. I've heard that a Taurus can take a lot of crap, but eventually they will be just done, and then they will toss you out of their life and not look back.
That's true. Well, you know, let's look at the symbolism of a Taurus. I mean, if we look at the
I just seen
symbolism.
that happen.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
With who?
Hannah.
Oh, with my daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh,
She
yeah.
She took a lot of crap.
Yeah,
A
her
lot.
relationship.
Like a lot.
Yeah, when she put her foot down, that was it, though.
Yeah.
And that, think about the bull. The bull, if you look at the bull in the pasture, you know, he'll kind of sit out there and, you know, he'll have all these different threats coming at him. He might kick at him and tell him to back off and, you know, flip his tail at him. But once he turns around, he puts his head down and you know, it's coming through his nostrils and he's doing this, you better get the hell out of there and not look back. That's what I'm thinking. It's true, and we can see it. We can learn through life and different symbolism.
So I have a question.
Okay.
How okay, so my fiance is Aries, I'm Aries. How does that look in the you know what I mean? Like
No, I think the greatest thing about that is that Aries are excited for life. They're ready to go at a minute. They're always looking for fun. They're always looking for the next excitement.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do well, though, with the 9 to 5, every day, you know, kind of like, you know, that type of life, you know. They need to have constant change. Like we were talking tonight, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm coming over. Like that's an Aries. And so if you take 2 Aries and you put them in a box, you put them in a cage, you know, they're only going to have each other. And they're competitive.
Yeah.
And then both of you have to be right.
Yeah. I think I have more Aries.
Well, yeah.
Do you know my signs?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Aries. You have Moon in Aquarius, which often is about your mother, having kind of a strange mother. Astrology rules Aquarius. Doing the internet. So it's kind of like all that connection, I think, looking back at the day you were born, was already created. That we would be sitting here, you just had your 30th birthday, at this moment. So when you look back at your charts, look at your family charts. Look at your connection to your mother or your father or your sisters. What do you have to offer each other? What similarities do you have? What things rub you the wrong way? So I think that was, you know, those are good questions. All right, well, what do you think?
Let's see.
We'll do one more.
All right, let's go look around.
Hang in there. You gotta keep it going.
Oh, I know. I'm going back and forth from.
All right, he's gonna find a question, and I'm just gonna say, please go to my email. The link will be below if you would like to participate in this. And like I said, we'll be answering questions, even if you want to do a written question. Let's look at these things together. Let's look at relationships for today. You know, I think we've all gone through a very intense purging the last 10 years, and the ability to actually look at relationships more honestly, and to really, instead of living this life of this huge sacrifice in our relationships where we have no voice, we all need to have our voice. It's necessary that we're able to be who we are and to be able to take responsibility for ourselves. I mean, that's the hardest thing to do. I mean, I don't go down easy. I have to contemplate it quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I want to grow. And at the end of the day, I love those people around me that I know are so valuable in my life. And like you.
So, I'm sorry, I'm on a whole nother. She just reminded me about the email thing. So we're on to another. Yeah. So
this is how it goes.
On her website that I just put in the link, you can go and you can put your name in the hat for a free transit, which are like $25 or $30.
Yeah.
We usually give like 5 or 6 of those out every week, and then I've just spent the last like month on building our Shopify store with a whole bunch of cool things. I think there's like
Oh, we have cool T-shirts
there's
that
like
we made.
cell phone cases and coffee mugs and like 3 different designs for almost every sign. I think every sign has like 10 different things you can pick from. So I'm putting that in there. If you want to just go check it out, and even leave in the comments what you think about the store, it does help everything that we're doing. And yay, back there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that let's sum it up there. Thank you guys all so much. I will be looking back at the questions of these videos and maybe be able to answer some next week as well. So keep coming, keep asking. Email us if you want to get in the show and have us be more specific. And are we going to say goodbye?
I think we're.
Do we know how to say
I want to
goodbye?
make sure. There was a question. Kimberly had asked a question, and I was trying to find it to get back and answer it. Oh wait, here it is.
Okay, Kimberly.
Okay.
We'll do one more.
Yep. Did you think me being a Cancer, Sun, Leo, Rising, Sag, Moon, Leo, Venus, and him, oh, you're gonna have to read it.
Oh God.
Him, Pisces, Sun, Aquarius, Rising, Aquarius, Moon, and Aries, Venus would work out?
Oh, honey, we're gonna have to sit down and
Do
look
it.
at that. I'm not doing all that right now,
Let's see.
but
I'll give
because
you
I
the
want to
main
give
one,
it
yeah.
justice, that'll be a great question for next week. But
If
the
you-
Leo
yeah.
rising, the Sag, the Aquarius, you already see those connections. Leos need Aquarius in their life because that's your opposition. That's the other part of you. And you have this Leo Sag, so you've got, got a big personality.
And then he has Pisces, Sun, Aries, Rising, Aquarius, Moon, and Aries, Venus.
Well, there's a lot more sensitivity there. Let's do that question more in depth next week. I'd like to, because I have to sit down and look at it to give it a good answer. We give you a little demo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She does relationship readings.
Yeah, I do readings. That's right. Come over and book a reading with me, and we'll really get deep. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot. We're just here hanging
Hanging
out.
out. Well, that's what makes it fun when you do what you love.
Yeah.
I do work too.
And I love marketing, so
yeah. We're a good team. We're a good team, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys. See you later.